Hola. Wow. What an amazing week, huh? This is my second time in Chile. I was here for a conference on marine protected areas in La Serena a few months back. And I'm experiencing something really amazing in Chile. There's a kind of awakening in Chile, in the culture of Chile, to consciousness, to environmental protection right now that is incredibly inspiring. So I can tell you guys in Chile, the whole world of environmentalists are all watching Chile right now, like a football match. And you guys are winning. And everybody's going, yeah, go Chile. So it's a huge honor and a thrill to be here with you guys. I know in the last few days, your guys' minds have been filled up with lots of new philosophies and ideas and scientific concepts. And now I want to take you on a journey from your mind down into the heart. But to get there, we have to go through some big piles of garbage. So here we go. For many years, I've been interested in consumption, in consumismo, mass consumption, and the devastating effects that it is having on our world. And as a photographer, I'm interested in looking at the invisible aspect of this problem, because we don't see the huge piles of waste. And so I want to show you those things. So, and principally, I got really interested in plastic a few years ago. And so I started making some very large-scale artworks that show the amount of plastic that we are consuming. So this is a photograph of lots of plastic bottles, but we're zoomed way in on a huge image. So we're going to zoom out. So there's lots and lots of plastic bottles, and there is the full-size image. This is 2 million plastic bottles, enough plastic bottles to cover 8 football fields. And this is the number of plastic bottles that in the United States we consume every 15 minutes. Plastic cigarette lighters, you see a sort of swirl of cigarette lighters. And we're going to zoom further out from this artwork, and maybe you start to recognize a famous painting. This is Van Gogh's Starry Night that I made from 50,000 cigarette lighters, which is the estimated number of pieces of plastic that are floating in every square mile of the world's oceans, of all of the world's oceans. You guys probably know that the world's oceans are heavily polluted with plastic, and this is an issue that I'm going into more and more. There's a lot of plastic bags, and as we slowly zoom back from plastic bags, you'll recognize another famous painting. This is Venus, The Birth of Venus, by the artist Botticelli, and this is made from 240,000 plastic bags, which is the number of plastic bags used in the world every 10 seconds. So during my talk already, we already used many, many times more than that. And when I was here in La Serena for the conference on marine protected areas, Chile was the first country in the world to ban plastic bags. And a few other countries have done it now, but Chile was the world leader in that really inspiring moment. So while I was studying plastic pollution and plastic consumption, I learned of a tragedy that is happening on a remote island in the very middle of the Pacific Ocean. And as soon as I learned about it, I felt a magnetic pull that I have to go there and experience this tragedy in person. And it's happening on a tiny island in the middle of the Pacific called Midway. Oh wait, I have to show you one more image made of lots of plastic. This is plastic that was taken from the Pacific Ocean by a scientist who sails all the way across the ocean, and he has a net behind his boat, and as he goes, he collects plastic. So this is all plastic that came from the Pacific Ocean. And you can see the yellow bottle has fish. Fish have been already eating that piece of plastic. So it's making it into the food chain directly. And you can see there's a comb and some pieces of fishing line and some plastic bottle caps. And we slowly zoom further and further out, and you see a mountain, and maybe you recognize a famous piece of Japanese art by the artist Hokusai, This is made of 2.4 million pieces of ocean plastic, which is the estimated number of pounds of plastic that enter the world's oceans every day. Hokusai's artwork is a clever yin-yang symbol. So you see the wave and the negative space of the wave make the yin-yang symbol. And he was showing the yin-yang relationship between the stillness of the land, so the stillness of Mount Fuji, and the great movement of the ocean. And he was also showing the fragility of humans and the great power of nature. So you can see there's some guys in their boats that are just about to get pounded by that huge wave. So I thought it would be interesting to flip that yin-yang relationship upside down and show the great power of humans to affect the health of our oceans. So 2.4 million pieces of plastic, which is the number of pounds of plastic that are entering the world's oceans every day. Most of the plastic comes out of polluted rivers. Now we go to Midway Island. In the very middle of the Pacific Ocean, you guys probably know the Pacific Ocean is the world's largest ocean. In fact, all of the other oceans in the world would fit inside the Pacific, and all the rivers and glaciers and all the rest of the water. The Pacific Ocean holds half of the world's water, and it is 1/4 of the Earth. It's 60 million square miles of open sea. And if you put your finger exactly in the place where it's the furthest away from a continent of anywhere on planet Earth, it's right there, and that's where Midway Island is. Here it is on Google Earth. You can see how huge the Pacific Ocean is. So about 2,000 kilometers northwest from the islands of Hawaii is this tiny island called Midway. And I want to take you to Midway Island right now and show you what's happening on this island. So can you guys play my video, please?
Do we have the courage to face the realities of our time and allow ourselves to feel deeply enough that it transforms us and our future? Come with me on a journey through the eye of beauty. across an ocean of grief. And beyond.
You don't have to clap. It never feels like something to clap for. Don't have to clap. I believe the most transformational thing that any of us can do in the world right now is to connect with our own heart and to feel something about what is being lost in our world right now. Because when we feel something, especially when we feel our sadness for what is being lost, when we grieve, when we feel grief, I think maybe in Spanish the word is duelo. When we feel grief for what is being lost, then we're home. That, to me, is the doorway home to reconnection with ourselves and with the world. Because grief, this is what I learned on this island, grief is not the same as despair or depression. Grief is the same as love. Grief is a felt experience of love for something we're losing or have lost. When we grieve, we reconnect with the deepest part of ourself that feels love. And when we grieve for what is being lost in our world, we reconnect with the world. We reconnect with the living world. And there's so much being lost right now. It's hard to grieve because it feels like we're going to go down a trapdoor into despair and depression forever. But I learned on this island that when we surrender to grief, when we allow ourselves to feel our sadness for what is being lost in our world, then we reconnect with this deep part of ourself where our wisdom lies. And I believe that if collectively, if we could reconnect with this part of ourself, then looking at those problems out there in the external world, solving those problems out there would be so much easier and so much faster. So my challenge that I give myself is to, every day I want my heart to break. Not break apart, but break open. And the challenge is to grow our heart big enough to contain all of our sadness for all of the sad things that are happening in the world. At the same time as standing midway between all of the bad news that we're looking at and the good news, which is that our world is still a miracle. Our world is filled with so much beauty, especially your amazing country of Chile. And if we can stand midway between those two opposing things, hold the whole world inside our heart, then we're home. That's my wish for myself, and it's my wish for all of you. Thank you.